Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. So today we're back on the KRX. We're making a cooler mounts. So you ever go out riding and you need a way to strap down your cooler? Well, there's no real good way in the back of the KRX, even though there is 4 tie downs. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The problem with those tie downs is you kind of have to X over your cooler. There's no real good tie down solution there. Now there are aftermarket mounts out there, but honestly, they're overpriced, and I don't think they're that great. So today, we're gonna make one, and we're gonna do it for under $20, and let me show you how. We're gonna take our cooler to the welding table, and we're just gonna take some scrap angle iron that I got laying around, got some stainless steel and mild steel, and we're going to weld it up. So let's head on over to the welding table, and let me show you what we're gonna do. Now over here at the welding table, I have the cooler, and I have the base. And to save time, I've actually pre-cut all the pieces and I tack welded them together. It's not finished welded, it's just for fitment issues. So for those of you wondering, I am using a Canyon brand cooler. It's comparable to any of the high-end roto-molded coolers. It's just made here locally in Arizona, and it's a 20 liter. It's got nice locking latches. You open it up, it's got the nice gasket around, and we're gonna end up taking the strap off so I can use the cooler tie downs here to tie this down. So, as I said, I've already got everything cut, which is the boring part, and tack welded. As you can see on my cooler, I have about 1/4 inch of play side to side and front to back, maybe a little less front to back. But what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take this off and we're gonna head back over to the KRX and we're gonna figure out how we're gonna mount this. Now, like I said, it's only tack welded. Another thing you may notice is the angle. So I have the outside angled iron pieces facing out and the inside making a cradle. I did that specifically because what we're gonna end up doing is taking these hooks and tacking them onto the side. So that way we can use the tie downs for the cooler and a turnbuckle. Now you can get these at your local hardware store for like $3 or $4 a piece. This one's rated at 275 pounds. I think these were like $2 or $2.50 a piece, and they're rated at 200 pounds. More than enough for a little 20-quart cooler. So let's head back over to the KRX and look at how we're gonna mount this. So this is gonna be the first part of a bigger build where I'm gonna put some more mounts in here. So the cooler mounts, I want to mount to the floorboard, and I want it in the center. I want equal space on either sides. And my cooler fits almost perfect the way I have it set up on these rails here. So I want to mount it to these bolts. Now these are an M6x1, and there's a couple options. The first option is to take a piece of plate, just like that, butt weld it, cut it right around there so it's a nice place to sit. Get a longer bolts and put a spacer in there. But that's not what I'm gonna do. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of this leftover angle and we're gonna stick it in. We're gonna do something just like that. So what I'll do is I'll go to the bandsaw, just like this, and I just cut just a marker width. We're gonna set it down like that. We'll drill a hole, bolt it down, then come back and tack weld it up. And we'll get each side welded up. So let's go ahead and get some holes drilled so we can tack this up. First thing we'll do is we will take out the bolts to 10 millimeter. Now I drilled a 1/4 inch hole in my plates. So we'll go ahead and set that in there on both sides, and then we'll get the new bolts. So the new bolts I got are about 1/2 inch longer, but I got the button head. Go ahead, get those in, and they are a 4 millimeter head. Okay, so now there is a little bit of play, but that's okay because I'll center it and fill it in. What I want to do is I want to bring it as far forward as I can. I want the cooler all the way up here, so I have as much room back there for my tool bag. So the next thing I need to do is we'll bring the welder over here and we will just tack weld. I don't want to melt this plastic. I don't like welding on the vehicles very often. So we're just going to tack weld each corner, just kind of like we did there. And the nice thing is this is going to sit lower than the cooler. Perfect. All right, so we'll get this unbolted and over to the table where we can do some finished welding on it, and I'll let it cool down. So everything is nice and cooled down. As you can see, I can hold it to the touch, and it is ready to move on to the next step. Now remember, I want to have $20 or less in this whole project, so it's not going to be super high end. It's something anyone can do in their garage with some scrap angle that they have, or go down to your local hardware store. I have less than $10 in this angle, even though it's been sitting over here for months. So I have this piece here, it's going to bolt in. So on the cooler, what you're gonna do is you take your strap, if it's like mine, and take it off, because mine's gonna go through where we're gonna lock it down. Now I have, again, some leftover angle. I have 3 or 4 pieces of this. This is 20 gauge stainless steel. So now in order to secure the cooler to the turnbuckle, I took that angle iron, that 1-inch stainless steel, I drilled a hole in it, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to drop it hole down here. What you do, you just take your turnbuckle, just like this, and then your hook, and you'll be able to tighten it up. The other option you have is getting a strap, something like this, with just a friction buckle right there. Remember, you're not holding a ton of weight. What you do is you take this end and you loop it through your cooler. Take the cooler, and then usually these kits come with a buckle style that you would just bolt to the bottom or weld. You trim the strap and you could just like that. And that would hold it down. And when you want to release it, you just hit the button and it would release. I'm gonna go with the turnbuckle style because, well, that's just easier. So to set the turnbuckle up, it's pretty easy. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a square and my marker. I got the cooler in there and I'm just gonna mark the center of this. So now that I have my line marked, next thing to do is I need to trim the hook up. So this angle is 1 inch by 1 inch. The hook base is 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. I'm not gonna cut it all off. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come right back up here. Let me see. I'm gonna trim right along there. Basically take those 2 mounting holes off. That way it gets it in nice and tight, and I can go ahead and I can weld it. I don't mind if there's a little bit of overhang, but I want the hook as close to this angle as I can. So I'm gonna go over to the bandsaw, and we're gonna cut this off. Well, it's the next day. It just got too hot out here yesterday to finish up this project. It was over 110 degrees in here in this garage, even with the fans going. So if you look behind me, it's only 10 in the morning, and well, it's over 100 degrees in here. But luckily we're almost done with this portion of the project. So I did go ahead and I got my hooks welded up. Now, this is the rear, this is the front. I have them facing this way specifically so they don't stick out. Now you don't have to use hooks. I chose to use hooks for my own reasons. You can use anything else you wanted. A U-bolt or an I-bolt would work just as well. And if you want to use one of those, just take another piece of scrap angle, weld it right up like that. Before you do that, bolt your I-bolts in there, your U-bolts, and there you go. You don't have to worry about getting caught on something. Let's head back over to the KRX. Let's get this installed, and I'll show you what the final product's gonna look like. So this is what it looks like when it's strapped down. You come over to your turnbuckle side, and you just tighten this, just like this, pulling on it. It'll go nice and tight. Over here, you just take your strap, and you pull up. If you have an eyelet, you'll obviously thread it through both. The beauty of the hook is I only have to keep it threaded through there if I want to release it, just like that. And to tighten it up, just come down, grab it, and pull on it. Nice and snug, just like that. Now, if I were to use the strap method like this, I would go ahead and I would cut this strap right around here and take a lighter and re-singe the end or melt it so it doesn't fray on me. But honestly, this is a pretty stout little setup, just like that. Cooler, well, the cooler is nice and secure, so you can go ahead, I can open my lid, get my drinks, come back down, and nothing is coming out or going anywhere. Well, there you have it. There's my cooler build, all nice and installed. It's pretty sturdy in my eyes. I don't think I'll have any issues with it coming out on the trail, whether it being a high-speed bumpy trail or a low-speed rock crawl. Worst case scenario, I flip it over on its side or on the lid. It's pretty stuck in there. Now, for those of you wondering, why didn't I paint it? Well, I'm not really done with it. The cooler section, I am done with. But there's a few more things I really want to hard mount into the bed of the KRX before I go to Moab, and there's no point in painting it. I'm just going to have to grind the paint off later. So, can you build this for 20 bucks or so? Absolutely. It's not real hard, just get some angle iron, and then you just need to decide how you're going to strap it down. Do you want to use the straps like I did on this side, probably the cheaper of the two options, or do you want to use the turnbuckles? Now if you use the turnbuckles, you have to figure out how you're going to hook it up. I was fortunate enough to have some leftover stainless steel angle iron that I went ahead and used. So I hope you learned something. I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Until next time.